Gear up for Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. It's your final word on sports all across the state. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now here are your hosts, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
All in all, there's no such thing as a bad win, and we'll take it. We'll get on the bus tomorrow and look forward to try to play our best baseball for the year this weekend.
So I don't really look at the draft boards or what those draft gurus are saying, because they'll put out big boards and all that stuff every year, and every year they're wrong.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back into Sports Talk. It's only been 22 hours since we were last with you, so don't fret it. We are back. You know, we're like that comfortable pair of shoes that you slip on. We're like that bib suit that you just tried on for the first time since last summer, and you know what? It still fits.
Or that bad penny that keeps turning up.
Bad what?
Penny.
The bad penny.
You never heard of that? The unlucky penny that reaches in your pocket. I thought I spit.
I thought that was a lucky penny. I thought that if you found a penny, like on the ground or something, it's a lucky penny.
There's also an unlucky penny.
Well, it must be stuck in the jerseys of the Celtics. My God, what's going on? What is going on? I told you, Coin. Come on, at home. Come on.
No, I told you, Coin.
I don't get it.
They're a regular season team.
Larry Bird would never allow this to happen.
Yeah, but Larry Bird wouldn't allow that to happen because he had McHale and Parrish rebounding. They can't bad.
I've been saying that all season. I said when they get to the playoff, these mock drafts for the NBA, and I see the Celtics with the number one pick. They're saying they're taking the point guard out of Washington, who's a fine player. But I'm like, why? Why? You got to get somebody who can protect the rim and get a damn rebound. You know rebounding to me is about effort. It helps to have size, but you know what? They're playing the Bulls. Okay, it's not like Wilt Chamberlain or Bill Russell out there and they're having to rebound against those guys. We're talking about, which Lopez is it that plays for the Bulls?
Brooks Lopez, I think it is. Brooks Lopez?
Yeah. He looked like Nate Thurman out there grabbing every rebound. It's ridiculous.
But plus, Robin, that's right, Robin. But here's the other thing. Their guards rebound. And that's a big key. And that's where that's where the problem lies. Your best player is 5'9", and you got Wade coming in there, Butler, and then just to rub it in the Celtics' face, Rajon Rondo comes in there throwing up those floaters that look like they're 40 feet in the air and they're going in.
It's like when the Bulls take a shot, the rim is like 13 feet around.
A rain barrel.
I mean, it's like they're not missing anything. They're not missing anything.
It's like Al McGuire used to say, when you're going good, the rim is a rain barrel. When it's going bad, it's a teacup.
Yes. All right, so upset about that, but I'll get through it. Too bad K-Mac's not here, so I can ask him how the Lakers are doing in their series. Wonk, wonk, wonk. The Hawks tonight, Yes. What's their series?
1-0 Washington.
Oh, you're dead meat.
Same as it was last year.
You're dead meat.
Their problem in the first game is they turned the ball over too much. 21 turnovers.
Did you see the end of the Braves game last night? That weird finish?
I did not.
The Braves are down, I think it's 3-1, bases loaded. And whoever was at the bats swung and missed. Here come the Nationals out of the dugout starting to celebrate. The grounds crew, the Braves started walking away, and the home plate umpire, his name. He's a famous home plate umpire. CB, da-da-da-da. He calls there. He goes, no, foul tip. Get back in the box. And, of course, everybody who was watching saying, he missed the ball by 8 inches.
Right.
CB Buckner. Totally blew the call. He made everybody go back the box, and then he struck out again to end the game, and the Braves took their first loss.
Wirtz got ticked off and went after him after the game.
Who is this?
What was this? Wirtz.
I don't know. I don't know if that
because he
happened.
was ticked off.
I don't think it was that
I
particular.
laugh at the Braves' demise.
Because the Nationals won. So, did any other highways explode today in Atlanta? That's just crazy.
It did, in fact.
There was another one?
Yeah, 5th Street in Atlanta has a sinkhole, and they shut down the entire street in downtown. That's
unbelievable.
Peachtree, yeah, another one.
That is unbelievable.
I think there's a bubble of hell under Atlanta, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
But you got to understand that Atlanta is actually built on the top of a small mountain. I mean, it's not.
Is that why Stone Mountain sticks out?
Yeah, it's not flat.
Yep.
And all those cars going over day after day after day after day, and the heat when it starts to rise in Atlanta, your infrastructure. That's why people kept telling years ago. No, people think roads going to last forever. They don't.
100 just kind of like people. People kind of think we're going to last forever.
You're kind of finite. Yes.
I plan to. Don't know if my plan will, be carried out to the very end. But 800-956-70. It is my wish to stay in the ears and the minds of the sports fans and in the backsides of sports fans in South Carolina and coaches and athletes forever.
That's why there's things called recordings.
56-7266 is the phone number here on Sports Talk. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com and on Twitter @SportsTalkSC. From USC baseball coach Chad Holbrook. Gamecocks rallied to get a win over Davidson last night. Tyler Johnson came in and closed it out. He looks good. And that's why if you're a Gamecock fan and you've been worried about your baseball team, 8-7 in league play with a difficult schedule ahead, if you can play close and have a lead late now, maybe 8th inning, get a one-run lead late, and put Johnson out there, boy, your chances of winning just went up. What is it? ESPN loves to come up with these percentages of chances of winning. The corn percentage for you winning those games just 50%. Went up about 90%.
90%.
Well, because he was throwing 97, 98 last night. I mean, it's BBs coming out of his hand.
Well, let's face it. People need to watch other teams and ask themselves, how did they do that? We can recall years in the SEC when we both have left LSU and Mississippi State for dead. They're not, and then suddenly a couple of players come back healthy or whatever. Say, where did this come from? Well, now it's up to you to see if you can do it, and it's plenty of time to recover. Baseball is a game where a few injuries or maybe an important player like a closer is out, you're going to lose some games you should win. But if those guys come back, get healthy, start hitting the baseball as the weather gets hotter, you'd be surprised what you can do in the latter part of the season. Coastal, they left them for dead when they got swept by Georgia Tech at the beginning of the year. And then suddenly they stand there with a trophy.
We'll hear from Clemson linebacker Ben Boulware tonight talking about his favorite subject, Ben Boulware. He was on the NFL Network this morning, and I don't know, draft-wise, he's going to get picked, right? I mean, somebody's going to take him. I was talking about him on television here in Columbia earlier today and kind of breaking him down. I mean, love his heart, his instinct, his drive, and everything else. But the NFL, they get past all that mamby-pamby stuff, and they look at your particulars, and they see a guy that's not very tall for a linebacker and probably not as fast as what they would like at linebacker.
Who was the guy that played with the Raiders, general manager with Detroit?
Matt Millen?
Same kind of bill. But
Matt Millen was an all-pro player.
Yeah, but he was surrounded by the Raiders.
Yeah.
Remember, he played a certain area in the middle of the field. They didn't ask him to range all over the place. A team.
Yeah, but that was back when the running game was part of football.
Yeah, but a team with a good defense can still have that with a Ben Boulware, but he'd have to go to a special guy with
not saying
defense.
He's not going to make it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that at all. I wouldn't count that kid out from anything because of his drive, his will, his determination, and his belief. His self-belief is off the charts. But when you just look at it, from an NFL standpoint and what they like, he doesn't necessarily fit the mold. We'll hear from him as well. And we want to jump on your phone calls here coming up. Clemson baseball tonight at 6:30. The Tigers take on the Georgia Bulldogs at Doug Kingsmore. We'll be right back. right, Clemson and Georgia at the bottom of the hour. Tigers looking to bounce back after suffering their first ACC series defeat of the season, losing to Florida State this past weekend and up through Monday. Georgia, of course, a baseball program that is still in the toilet. Been a long time since Georgia was really relevant in a big way in baseball. They had that little run there when they went out to the World Series a couple of times, right? Didn't they play for the championship once?
I don't think they played for the championship. They were close.
Didn't they get to the? They didn't get to the final.
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
you can check that out, but I'm not certain.
The Clemson lineup tonight, pretty much per usual: Pender, Roman, Davidson, Beer, Williams, Jolly, Cox, Green, Bird, and Tyler Jackson on the mound for the Tigers.
Some people
tonight
would say, "What good is a baseball game without a good beer?"
That's right. Well, I mean, in college, you used to be able to say, no alcohol whatsoever. But now more and more around the country, we're seeing these athletic departments give in to the pressure of selling beer at their sporting events. Alcohol in the parking lot. Now, plenty of alcohol inside the stadiums. And just another way for the school revenue, I guess. A couple of quick notes, and then we'll get to your phone calls, 800-956-7266. The ACC, the state of North Carolina, for all its insensitivities and other what is deemed poor decisions. And the ACC, which, of course, lives in the state of North Carolina, is returning its championships to the Tar Heel State, including the football championship this year. Back to Charlotte we go for the Dr. Pepper ACC football championship game, December 2nd at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. So that's happening again, and they've extended the contract there through 2020. So not only is Charlotte getting the game back, they're going to get another year to make up for having last year's game taken out of the football tournament, going back to Greensboro, February of 2018, after making a quick visit to Conway this past season. The ACC baseball championship going back to Durham Bulls Athletic Park in 18 and 19. And they've had some big crowds for that event there. And many other events are going back to the state of North Carolina: swimming and diving, men's golf, women's golf, tennis, and soccer. All those have future championship events scheduled for the state of North Carolina. South Carolina Athletic Coaches Association today announced its new slate of Hall of Fame inductees. They'll go in on July 23rd during the summer clinic down in Charleston. Fran Campbell, coach at Wren. Prad, wrestling coach at Bishop England. Irmo, Dutch Fork. Fort Dorchester, River Bluff. I love this name. You might know this gentleman. Hercules Sally. It doesn't ring a bell?
No.
Girls track coach at Orangeburg Wilkinson for 25 years. What a name. Hercules Sally. Debbie Stroman Wardlaw, girls basketball coach at LR for 24 years. And Bobby Young, girls basketball coach at Columbia High for 35 years. Congratulations to all. All right, let's jump on some phones here for a little bit. Tiger Bryan up in Lancaster. Hope your night on Sports Talk.
It's been a while, I've been listening to y'all.
Yeah.
I've been listening.
Yeah.
But I got a couple questions for you, and I'm going to give everybody else time to talk. First of all, how far you think our baseball team could go, and if they got through the regionals, do they have the potential without choking on errors? And second question, who do you think, I don't know if one of y'all was at the spring game at Clemson, I was, who do you think is going to be my starting quarterback this year?
Well, let's take the first question first and talk about the baseball season for the Tigers. Of course, they're off to a grand start. What are they going into tonight? 30-5, I believe, going into tonight's game. That's an incredible record. Now, the meat of their schedule I'm sorry, 30-7. 30-7. The meat of their schedule is ahead, which stinks. Boston College, which reeks. They beat a pretty good Georgia Tech team, Virginia Tech, which is below average. Then they lose to Florida State. Now they've got a Wake Forest team that has played well above expectations and is nationally ranked. They get them for 3 this weekend, which is having a great year. Then we're just talking league games here. Then they get Louisville at home for 3. And then NC State comes to Clemson to close out the conference regular season. And NC State's having a so-so year. Nothing great. So ahead, 12-6 in the league. You're playing North Carolina, which is 14-4 in the league, and you're playing Louisville, which is 15-3 in the league. So the whole dynamics, could skyrocket if they win the majority of those games, or it could take a hit as they play those games. Offensively, Clemson looks pretty good to me. I still wonder about their pitching. They've given up some runs here of late in that Florida State series. Starting pitching, I'm just going off memory here. I think starting pitching gave up some runs. Back into the bullpen for the most part has been pretty good. The defense has been better. They're fielding at a 970 clip, which is for Clemson. That's pretty good considering they're a team that made 100 errors last year. So far this year, they've made I think it's like 42 errors, something like that. So they are improved in that area. I think that what's really helped them, Chris Williams getting behind the plate and getting healthy, has helped solidify them. They found their answer at first base with Cox. They were able to keep Beer out in left. Been good at second, and Davidson's been, as a freshman, been very good at short. So they've solidified some things along those lines. They can win the ACC again. There's no question about it. But with their schedule facing them, they're going to still have to play some excellent baseball. Just looking at their starters from the Florida State series, Crawl went 5 1/3 and gave up 5 runs, but none of them were earned. He did walk 3. They had some errors, obviously, that factored in there. In the middle game to Florida State, in which Florida State scored 7 runs, Eubanks gave up 7 earned runs in only 3 innings, so they did not get a good start out of him. And then in the 12-10 game that Clemson won, Charlie Barnes gave up 6 earned runs. So the starters have given up some runs here. When we talk about facing the top competition, as Florida State is, they gave up some runs in those 3 games. But Clemson's offense can keep them a lot of games and salvage their it's just a guess on my part because we didn't see him in the spring, only got to see him in the spring game. I think it'll be either Hunter Johnson or Zarek Cooper who emerges as a starting quarterback. I just don't think Kelly Bryant for the skill set to do what Clemson needs to do. He's got the legs. I don't think he has the arm. The other 2 guys are more polished, complete quarterbacks, I think, from the little bit I've seen of them. I'm going more off of reputation than I am from firsthand.
So what you're saying is whoever starts the season may not be the starter for the rest of the season.
Well, I think Kent State will be one thing. I think Auburn will be an entirely different thing. And you could see somebody start against Kent State, and then like they did with Deshaun Watson, he didn't start the first few games of that season as they had Cole Stout handling things. I don't know. My gut tells me Hunter Johnson ends up being the guy. That's just my I have nothing to base that on. Really, I don't. I'm just taking a guess. Nobody knows. Maybe they could be, but I don't think anybody outside that quarterback room really knows.
They have to figure what their coaching is going to be like. They won't have number 4 this year to kind of change the sights.
Welcome back in. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network from downtown Columbia, the best 2 hours of your night. Now only down to 90 minutes for this particular night. Every other night's 2 hours when we start the program. Actually, since we start at 6 after, it's only an hour and 54 minutes. I don't know why I even go there. 800-956-7266 is our phone number. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com. USC is going to get a visit from a big-time college basketball grad-eligible one-year guy. That's my tease. They call me the Big Tease.
Oh, okay.
We'll give the information to you in a little bit. You probably already know it, but what the hell? Might as well just tease it anyway. Let's go back to the phones, and we have Cockett. Hello, Cockett.
Hi. This is a really sad day for me today, and I'm mad.
And that is why?
Restaurant Harper's going out of business.
What?
Yeah, they shut
Whoa. Harper's?
Harper's in 5 Points, yes.
Well, somebody will buy that property and turn into something.
Yeah,
big.
it's in a prime spot.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny
Yeah,
because I was just telling Jarmart here that where we
Yeah.
are located on Main Street, I don't usually walk from the State House side of Main Street to the office. I come from the other direction.
Yeah.
But since I came up Main Street today that way, I saw we're right next door. They're opening a pita pit. And Jarmart was very excited about that.
Yeah, they're going out of business, and I'm still
Can't go out of business with the basketball tournament coming here in 2019.
They'll
That's
have
not a good look.
Somebody else will be in there.
Yeah, but I get all that. Then what really almost put me close in the coma is my Celtics is about to go in the tank, and I'm really mad as hell about that. Thing happened good for me. Me being the Celtics for the last 40 years. We got the talent, but we just don't. I feel sorry for the guy who lost his sister. Sad, but
Time out. Now, they've played 2 bad games at home at a bad time. They do play well together. They're a team that makes the extra pass. Hang on. They're a team that makes the extra pass. They're a team that covers up well on defense. But the playoffs, it's an entirely different approach. And what worked in the regular season for them because of the way other teams play now is not working for them here in the first 2 games of the postseason. And it boils down, in their particular case, to rebounds and giving the Bulls extra shots. And the Bulls have just been dead out, shooters. They've just been knocking the bottom of the basket out.
But let me say this. Now, I'm going to give Danny Ainge a lot of credit on a lot of good things. But why in the world do you want to go out there and spend a lot of money on a veteran who's been not going to give you a lot of upside during the playoff, because during the playoff he's terrible. We spent too much money on that.
Who are you referring to? Who are you referring to there?
I can't remember the gentleman's name. I think he was supposed to go to the Bulls or some other team, but somebody they require who's been playing. He's supposed to be a veteran. I don't know. I can't remember the guy. I think it is. I don't remember. But
you mean he's with the Celtics? He's with the Celtics now.
He's with the Celtics now.
Oh, you're talking about Horford?
Al Horford?
Yeah. I mean, he don't give you anything. I mean, really. I mean, you look at his playoff record overall. You ever been in the playoff? He just don't give you that upsides and points.
Al Horford is a tremendous guy in rebounding, because he's a guy that moves out on the court. There's not many players in the NBA who can grab a rebound and start a fast break better than Al Horford.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're asking him to do the dirty work down in the paint, that ain't happening.
That's not. And he's not going to do it. And I agree about at least 2 or 3 players for being an NBA champ. I'm just kind of disappointed the way we're going down the path to it. I mean, I just think the team just don't play strong defense. I mean, you look at the team that we had, and all. I know Doc Williams got the credit when we had the big 3, but you got to look at the former Chicago Bulls, the one who drew up the defense blueprint. He was just a better defensive coach. We just don't play strong defense at all. We just give up too many easy layups, and we just don't get physical. I mean, the Celtics. If you come down to paint on us, we're gonna put the elbow to you. We're gonna get physical with you, and we don't play that kind of way. We just carefree, and we just let the guys come down the court.
Here's
over. It don't help the team
on defense. Playing 4-on-5, because the whole Boston Celtics defensive rotation, agree with me, not Cohen, is to protect their weakest defensive player, who's Isaiah Thomas, because he's just short of stature, and he can't play that in-your-face defense. There's nobody in the league that he could actually look at in the face. So a lot of their defense is predicated on them protecting their point guards when the guys, when you got a veteran guarded oriented team like Chicago who can see the extra pass and who's open.
Yeah. The veterans on the Bulls team right now are playing great. I mean, Dwayne at a very high level. Jimmy Butler, who's how many years in the league for him? He's not a veteran, but he's been in 4 or 5 years. He's just He's playing great basketball. We mentioned Lopez, who's been a journeyman player. Everywhere he's gone, though, he's been a banger. And they've got – and of course, Rondo's playing with the chip on the shoulder kind of thing. Hey, I'll show you guys. So it's all come together for them. But you know what?
They're still –
last time I checked, you have to win 4.
Yep.
You have to win 4. And so I don't give up. I don't give up hope yet from a Celtic standpoint. How about the playoffs overall?
Yeah, the most interesting playoff, because the team stole one early, Clippers series, because Utah stole the first one. The old guy hit the winning shot to Joe Johnson.
Yes, former Celtic.
That was great what he said. It looks like the old ISO Joe from the Hawk days, and it did. He just got a small.
Speaking of Arkansas grads or former players,
Portis. Yeah,
Bobby Portis.
He kind of.
Anyway, NBA playoffs, man. I tell you what I love about the NBA playoffs.
And the Bucks.
That's why I'm always tired this time of the year, because I stay up
late at night.
Well, I want to watch the post game. I just love Kenny and Charles and Shaq, but especially Charles. I mean, he's hilarious.
See where Shaq's son committed to Arizona?
Saw that. But the three of them, with Ernie Johnson, of course, kind of moderating. It's the best right now for me. It's the best studio show out there.
Oh yeah,
love those guys.
They let it all hang.
I don't like them, but the thing is, I don't like them during the NCAA tournament.
Well, because
because in my mind, as a sports fan, they're NBA guys, and they're just for a couple of weeks putting on their college hats.
And then Kenny Smith might as well hold the North Carolina pom-poms when he's doing the college basketball, because it all gravitates. Their system is the best. You can almost hear it in his voice as far as that's concerned.
I wonder how many of those fake classes Kenny took when he came through. I have to ask him that next time we talk.
But Corn, here's the important thing. I want people who really just take a cursory glance at the playoffs. Giannis Antetokounmpo,
the Greek freak.
The Greek freak. If anybody looks at the Bucks, because nobody looks
at
that
last name again.
Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, they got something they can give you some medicine.
He's He's 6'11", but can handle like a guard. And asked Toronto about being posterized on several occasions in this early series. It's tied up 1-1. But you're watching a superstar in the making. If anybody wants to pay attention, and don't see, that's why I'm saying Danny Ainge better be looking over at Milwaukee and say, wait a minute, that Greek freak, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right. Underway at Clemson. They've gone to the bottom of the first, and there is no score. Speaking of baseball, Chad Holbrook coming up next here on Sports Talk.
we'll have our work cut out for us with 3 of the best pitchers in the country.
All right, they're going to the second at Doug Kingsmore, and it's a scoreless ball game. Tiger fans are hoping their guys hit one out of the ballpark for a homer. You can hit a home run with Founders Federal Credit Union in Clemson. It's now open in Tigertown. Founders Clemson's location is on Old Greenville Highway, and check out their 4 on-campus ATMs. Visit RelaxJoinFounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. All right, USC heading to Florida, Gainesville, to open up a series tomorrow night against the Gators. 3-game SEC series, huge for both teams because they're tied for second in the SEC East behind Kentucky. Brooke, who we talked with after last night's game, Gamecocks rallied to win 3-2. We spoke with him along with some other reporters about this big series.
We'll have our work cut out for us with 3 of the best pitchers in the country, and our guys are pretty good too, and sets up to be a really big series for them and for us. It's everybody's closely matched in the league, and everybody's bunched together from a win-loss standpoint. So we just got to go down there and try to play our best baseball. And we've played, I like the way we've played on the road. I don't know what it is. Maybe our guys relax a little bit on the road and take a deep breath. And they've played great baseball on the road this year, and hopefully that'll continue.
Do you even feel the need to stress the importance of the series to your guys?
Nah.
I feel like they know.
No, I know. South Carolina and Florida. I mean, there's pictures all around the stadium and national championship games with us 2 going at it. So, and obviously the magnitude of this season is, it's always important. But that being said, I guess we got 15 left, right, in the league, and they're all important. And playing Florida is just going to be important as playing Georgia as far as the win-loss column is concerned. But you got to go down there and play well, and you want to play well against the best teams in the country. And hopefully we will.
It's a little weird to look at the East and see, you guys with 7 losses. They got 7 losses.
It's just that's how it is in this league. Everybody's, you can have years like this when everybody's evenly matched. And I told the guys 16, 17, 18 wins. If you can get there, might win it. Everybody's in it, and that's a lot of people think the sky's falling around here and everybody's in it. And you get on a hot streak here and, we could be at the top. So, we'll see. We got to go play good baseball and against a really, really good team. Runs are going to be hard to come by against those guys. And our guys are going to have to keep them at bay, and maybe we'll play our best. It's going to take our best base. But, we might have that in us this weekend. Who knows? We do play well on the road, and we'll need to play well this weekend.
And having Tyler back and coming off your 2 wins in a row here, does that give you personally a little more confidence winning?
Well, I think I think we can match up, and we have to pitch. I mean, everything has to be clicking. We can't leave one aspect of the game in the locker room and expect to win. But yet, if we play defense and we pitch and we battle like crazy at the plate, we can beat anybody. And I'd have felt that whether we won tonight or lost tonight. And we got some good pitchers going. They got some good pitchers going. Maybe we can find a way to get a lead and turn it over to the big guy.
How far away do you feel like they'll are from playing your best game?
I don't know. We play. I mean, I don't keep going back to this Auburn ball down there, and that loss on Sunday might have sucked the wind out of us for a week or so. I mean, who knows? I don't know. I mean, it hurt because our kids laid it on the line and they played their tails off, and maybe we're just recovering from that. I don't know. I mean. But hopefully, our guys have played well on the road, and some reason we take a deep breath and relax. And, sometimes we got, less people on the road yelling at our players than we do at home. So maybe that's why they relax them.
Any thought from you about the large number of 1-1 games you find yourself in, especially in league play? It's like every every game is right down to the wire?
That's just how it is. We don't score a lot of runs, and our batting average isn't off the chart. And it's that's just how it is. We pitch and play defense. And when you pitch and you play defense, you're going to be in every game, but they're all going to be tight. And I don't think some of our guys have performed the way they're capable of performing offensively, and that's created some of these tight games. I mean, I don't think Destino has played. He'll be the first to tell you the way he can play. Hopkins has been injured off and on all year. Stokes got off to a slow start, and he's shown some life of late. But we haven't played offensively the way we're capable of playing. And hopefully that'll happen at the right time, and that might create some, 3 or 4 run wins instead of these nail biters. But, right now that's all we got.
All right, Chad Holbrook from last night. Interesting comments about hearing the fans in the stands, and maybe that's affecting the players. I mean, I don't know what's said behind the dugouts. I don't sit closely enough to the dugout, being up in the press box. But when I've been at the games, I haven't heard fans booing and stuff like that. I mean, nothing to that degree. There's maybe a few cat calls here and there from some leather-lunged fans who are like not happy with a call Holbrook makes, or not happy with the execution by a player at the plate or on the field. But in terms of group booing and things of that nature, I haven't heard that. Now, fans do speak with their butts, and don't take that the wrong way. By that, I mean they're not there. I mean, there was a very poor crowd on Sunday afternoon. Now, say what you will, Easter, television, make up any excuse that you want. Actual attendance, they announced over 6,600 tickets sold, but in terms of actual attendance, very poor. Now, I think it was better on Friday and Saturday, but just Sunday was poor. Maybe that's the result of having lost the first 2 games in the series. Maybe it's the result of it being Easter, whatever the case may be. But there's been other games. I mean, these midweek games are drawing flies. I mean, I get there about 5th inning by the time I finish up here, and the place is not even a quarter of the way full. So for whatever reason, people aren't turning out, and that's not good support by any means. But Chad is, I mean, he's a guy who I think is on Twitter a lot for a lot of different reasons, recruiting or information gathering, but he's seeing what's being tweeted out there by people about him and about his baseball team. And there's only one way to change that, and of course that's to just win a ton of games. But that's easier said than done, even with a program like USC's and a team with the talent that USC has. It's just not that easy in this league. Every once in a while, a team's going to rise up, have that great year where they win 20 league games like they did last year, I think. How many league games they win last year? Didn't they win like 20?
20, it's close to
I think it was like 20 league games last year. They finished in the top 4, and I think they had like 20 league wins. That's a heck of an accomplishment. Now, right now, they're sitting at 8-7 with a very tough slate ahead. And like he said, if you can get to 15 or 16 wins, you've got a chance to win your division, or at least finish in the upper echelon. But as Ray Tanner told us yesterday, and he sits on the selection committee, the Gamecocks have some work to do to put themselves in position to be able to host a regional. We're talking first round regional.
Yeah.
Super regional, you can just about forget that at this point. I mean, they've got to play about 750 baseball, I would say, from here on in to win enough games to be in a position to host a regional and then be considered in the category of a top 8 national seed.
And of course, you almost just want to just concentrate on playing your best baseball, because we saw it when Coastal Carolina started to get that mojo. They wouldn't have cared if they played on the moon. They were going to win. They were going to win that baseball game. No, we're not at Coastal. Who cares? And when that first game, when they won it at LSU in the fashion they won it, I said, these guys not caring about where they are. They don't care. And if you're South Carolina, if you start playing your best baseball, even if maybe you don't get a regional, you shouldn't care.
Let's see what happens this week against Florida, and then maybe you can start to draw some conclusions after we see how they fare against the Gators. Meantime, up at Doug Kingsmore, Georgia has taken a 1-0 lead, a solo home run in the top of the second for the Bully Dogs, who have runners on first and second and nobody out against Tyler Jackson up at Clemson. All right, top of the hour. Recruiting is coming up in hour number 2, and a whole bunch more. We'll be back. That's his thing. Give me just a second. I got to find one more thing here. Hang on. Markel Crawford apparently does not do Twitter. Well, I can't find him. Yeah.
Some of you all want to string up Tubby. You're running everybody off. What was that?
You gonna punch him out? Punch him out. Okay.
Belly flop.
Be right with you, Jar Martin. Let's finish with this here. So you won't be here Friday. I guess K-Mac will be by himself. Can y'all handle it, Jar Martin?
Oh, yeah, because it won't be but a week or less than a week. Because they'll have their Thursday night, the first round tomorrow.
Okay.
I mean, for his sake, I'd love to see him go to Arizona. That'd be a great land.
All right, you ready? Sun Devils Wednesday. Okay, here we go. Coming down in at 3. Oh, let me check one more thing here real quick. Just got stuff happening here. Pieces top 5. Come on, douche. Here y'all go. Okay. I'll tell you what. Well, okay. All right. Coming down in 3. Well, how am I going to? Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Wide receiver Josh Vann of Tucker, Georgia, has had USC as his favorite for several weeks. He says the Gamecocks are still on top ahead of Georgia. He does plan to visit USC again at some point, but has not set a date. Clemson is in the top 5 with defensive back A.J. Litton of Upper Marlboro, Maryland, with Maryland, Penn State, Florida State, and Alabama. Pick it up here. 3, 2, 1. 2019 defensive back Jamie Robinson of Cordele, Georgia, was offered by USC. Clemson offered defensive back Kelvin Joseph of Baton Rouge. He's currently committed to LSU. McCormick running back Mateo Durant visited Duke on 6'7". Zion Williamson of Spartanburg Day met with Kansas on Tuesday. Clemson and Wofford and Kentucky on Wednesday. And Clemson was in to see 6'8" Evan Cole of Cumming, Georgia on Tuesday. He visits Georgia Tech Thursday and Vanderbilt on Saturday. And 6'8" Markel Crawford, a grad transfer from Memphis, told CBS Sports he plans to visit USC. Phil Kornblut, South Carolina, Radio Network Sports. I got a feeling that's too long. I had to start over in there. You'll see the countdown, but I think I'm too long. 2019 defensive back Jamie Robinson of Cordele, Georgia was – huh? No, that's where I started over. With Maryland. That's where I stopped and picked it Alabama. Up. Pick it up with Josh Van. Pick it up here. Pick it up here. That's where it starts, yeah. From Marlboro, Maryland, with Maryland, Penn State, Florida. 2019 defensive back Jamie ahead of Georgia. He does plan to, but has not set a date. Clemson is in the top with defensive back A.J. Litton of Upper Marlboro, Maryland, with Maryland, Penn State, Florida State. Wide receiver Josh Van of Tucker, Georgia, has had USC. Pick it up here. 2019 defensive back Jamie Robinson of Cordele, Georgia. 2019 defensive back Jamie Robinson of Cordele, Georgia was offered by USC. Clemson offered defensive back Kelvin Joseph. And Clemson was in to see 6'8" Evan Cole of Cumming, Georgia on Tuesday. And Clemson was in to see Mateo Durant visited Duke on Wednesday. In basketball, 6'7" Zion Williamson of for defensive back Kelvin Joseph of Baton Rouge. He's McCormick running back Mateo LSU. McCormick running back 6'7" Zion Williamson of Spartanburg Day met with Kansas on Tuesday, Clemson and Wofford and Kentucky on Wednesday. And Clemson was in to see 6'8" Evan Cole of Cumming, Georgia on Tuesday. He visits Georgia Tech Thursday. And 6'8" Markel Crawford, a grad transfer from Memphis. Markel Crawford. Phil Kornblut, South Carolina, Radio Network Sports.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for sport, Phil Kornblut, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
All right, welcome back into Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Tonight being a Wednesday in April, it is SC Wild Night here on Sports Talk. Captain Billy Downer will join us at the bottom of the hour. So you great outdoors people, get ready for that. If you have any questions or comments related to the great outdoors, and now that things are warming up considerably, a lot of folks will be heading to the great outdoors for hunting and fishing purposes. That's why the captain is here to tell you about the ins and outs of all of that and where things are happening in our state in the great outdoors. That'll be coming up at 7:30. Feel free to email us a question that you want the captain to answer. Talk back at SportsTalkSC.com or just hit us up with a tweet directed to us at SportsTalkSC. Clemson threatening in the bottom of the second. Seth Beer legged out his first triple of the season, so he's on third base. Has not scored yet. 2 are out. Since he tripled, Williams struck out swinging, struck out looking. Kevin Smith trying to wiggle off the hook in the bottom of the second, with Georgia leading 1-0 thanks to a solo homer. Let's do the recruiting update for today, have we? Shall we do that? Let's do it. Wide receiver Josh Vann of Tucker, Georgia, has had USC as his favorite since attending a junior day at the start of spring practice. His offer list has expanded, but his focus still remains on the Gamecocks. As he says, yeah, I believe they still lead for me. He says he likes what they told him the first time he went up there, and the coaches are telling him that he'd fit right in, and he likes what they're doing on offense. The only other visit thus far he's taken has been to Georgia, so the Bulldogs are second on the list behind the Gamecocks. He does plan to visit USC again, but doesn't have a date. He'd like to make his decision before his season, but could go all the way to signing day. Clemson, one of the top 5, with defensive back A.J. Litton, Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Another Clemson target, receiver Jordan Adams of Cary, North Carolina, formerly of Blythewood, will disclose his top 5 today. Has not happened yet, just checked. Still waiting on that top 5 to drop. Would imagine that Clemson, where his father is the defensive line coach, no doubt will be in it. Clemson commitment defensive lineman Josh Belk of Louisville invited to the Under Armour game. 2019 defensive back Jamie Robinson, I think we talked about this yesterday, of Cordele, Georgia, was offered by USC. Clemson offered defensive back Kelvin Joseph of Baton Rouge. He's an LSU commit. Clemson also offered 20 Ishmael Sopsher, Sopsher, S-O-P-S-H-E-R, Sopsher.
Was that Shropshire?
No, Shropshire, 6'5", 280. Guess where he's from? The home of one of the all-time most highly touted Clemson recruits who turned out to be a bust. He's from Amite, Louisiana. Who can name that Tiger from Amite, Louisiana? Think that, pro. Who can name the Tiger from Amite, Louisiana?
He wasn't a quarterback, was he?
Yes, he was. He was a number 1 option quarterback in the country back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Michael Carr.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. USC target tight end John Fitzpatrick. USC target tight end John Fitzpatrick of Atlanta was offered by Georgia. McCormick running back Mateo Durant visited Duke today. Basketball, 6'7", Zion Williamson of Spartanburg Day met with Kansas coach Bill Self on Tuesday. Brad Brownell was due in today for a visit, along with coaches from Kentucky and Wofford. Texas, we told you about him and USC last night. More details now. Perry Clark are developing a relationship, and that they like him, they have faith in him, and they like his development. You know, he started out as a 6'3" guard, and he's grown to a 6'8" forward. So he planned to talk more with the Gamecocks after Frank Martin was clued in on everything. So last season he averaged 21 and 11. He said Boston College, Arizona State, East Tennessee State, and Southern Miss have come after him the hardest since he went back on the market. He was offered by the Sun Devils today. He has taken an official visit to Texas State. Clemson was in to see 6'8" Evan Cole of Cumming, Georgia, Tuesday. He visits Georgia Tech Thursday and Vandy Saturday, a Clemson visit, which he thought he was going to take a Clemson visit this coming weekend, though it was never set in stone. He said it's still possible, just ain't happening this weekend. And 6'4", Markel Crawford, grad transfer from Memphis, told John Rothstein of CBS Sports he will take one of his official visits to USC. He's at Ole Miss today, according to the Jackson Clarion Ledger. He averaged 13 points, 4.4 rebounds per game this season. And against the Gamecocks, when they played Memphis in late December, he lit up the Gamecocks. This is one of those deals where, If you saw him in person, you'd like to have him on your team. 50 at Memphis, and Crawford in 38 minutes scored 28 points, had 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 9 of 13 from the floor, 10 of 12 from the line that day against the Gamecocks. So he was impressive. This is a Memphis team that's kind of coming apart now under Tubby Smith, who's under a lot of pressure. Only after 1 season at Memphis, already under a lot of pressure.
Well, you know, Tubby's old school, and when he came in and he kind of alienated what the coach of those 2 sons that were on the team, and apparently has other relatives out there.
Slimy. It is so slimy. It really is. At the highest level, it really is. I mean, you want to be there, and sometimes, I mean, some coaches won't compromise values, but a lot of coaches will. And you just see these fathers starting to try to, in some cases with the marquee kids, especially with the power of the NBA behind them because of the one and done thing, you know, and they like the kid out at UCLA. You know,
Ball.
Yeah, I mean,
his
and now he's got 2 more coming up, right? Who are going to UCLA. I mean, as talented as those guys might be, I'm saying thank you, but go somewhere else. I just don't. I mean, look, I can say that because my life doesn't depend on the talents of teenagers coming in and making sure I'm still making $3 or $4 million a year, but it's not worth the headache of dealing with that dad.
Well, see, that's why I didn't see Memphis letting Pastner go and hiring Tubby. I said Tubby's not going to deal with this. I knew it from the beginning.
He probably couldn't deal with it at Kentucky.
Yeah, and I said it's because he's old school.
Tubby's biggest mistake was winning a national championship in his first season.
Well, yeah,
because
he had to do it.
It was at Kentucky. You have to win a national championship almost every season if you want to have a nice, healthy existence there. But anyway, Markel Crawford supposedly going to visit South Carolina at some point as the Gamecocks are looking at the grad transfer market. I mean,
and you talked about.
I still have mixed emotions about this grad transfer stuff. Yeah, I mean, I guess in some cases you can fill a particular need in a particular hole in your team and your program with it. But boy, if it comes to the expense of a 3rd or 4th year player who's going to see his playing time, greatly diminished, that could eat away at the chemistry of your team if you're not careful. Well, if you bring in the wrong guy in that situation, he could just tear up good chemistry.
I'm just thinking that these conversations were probably on the QT a good while ago. Now, if PJ leaves,
come on,
gotta have a fallback position.
Somehow Clemson did not get Beer home after he got to 3rd with nobody out. They couldn't get him home. Georgia's still leading 1-0. We'll be right back. All right, still 1-0 Georgia leading Clemson, bottom of the third at Doug Kingsmore. Tigers have just that his first triple of the season. Georgia with 5 hits, 1-5-0. They've left 3, and the Tigers no runs on 1 hit and has left just the 1. That was Beer at third base. So you're up to date on what the Tigers are doing. And we'll remind you from our friends at South Carolina Forestry Commission, and I'm sure Captain Downer would second what I'm about to tell you. Insects and diseases can be moved hundreds of miles in firewood and threaten forests, campsites, neighborhoods, and state and national parks. So protect the trees you love by purchasing firewood at or near where you're going to burn it. For more info, visit don'tmovefirewood.org. All right, so the NFL draft comes up a week from tomorrow, right?
Yes, the first round.
Yeah, one night of the first round. Now, tomorrow night we'll be up in Greenville at the Hyatt Regency. It was just the Hyatt. Now, the Hyatt in downtown Greenville. And we'll be there for the induction ceremonies for the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame. We're scheduled to have with us, so we hope to have with us. Now, I can't promise because you know how it is. Deshaun Watson is supposed to be there to receive an award, and we're supposed to have him right at the beginning of the program. So when we sign on tomorrow night, if all goes well, we'll have him.
It is the Hyatt Regency.
It is a Hyatt Regency. Okay. Dick Sheridan is another scheduled guest, and we'll be talking to some of the other folks going into the hall as well and bring that to you. Also tomorrow night, he was supposed to be with us tonight, but then a conflict came up in his quarterback coaching schedule, and that's former Gamecock Perry Orth will be with us tomorrow night. He's got a quarterback camp coming up on Saturday that's going to be held at Hammond Academy here in Columbia. And so along with his job, he works for Fluor up in Greenville, the Fluor Corporation, working for them. But he is also doing camps to work with young quarterbacks. He definitely wants to get involved with that big time. Tomorrow night to talk about that and also to reflect on his career and things with the USC football team, the offense, and all that. Now, going back to the draft, of course, Clemson's going to have a busy draft with a bunch of players selected, of course, and Ben Boulware most likely is going to be one of those. He was on the NFL Network this morning himself and the draft. And one thing he has done, I think he did it today or just recently, he went back to elementary school there in Central, R.C. Edwards, and donated 30 sets of shoulder pads, brand new shoulder pads to their, I guess it's middle age football team, little league football team, whatever they play.
Midget football.
Junior varsity, maybe, whatever the case may be. He made a nice donation. And so he talked about that today on the NFL Network.
Well, I've always wanted to kind of give back to the community just because that's where I've grown up. I've always, like, Clemson football is all I've ever known. And I went to a middle school called McCants right down the road. And I've always wanted the opportunity to do it, give back. So now I finally have the opportunity to do that. And I teamed up with the academy. And we donated. I know I probably made some McCants people mad. I'll definitely have to work my way down there and give some donations out to them. But me and academy donated 30 new shoulder pads to RC Edwards, which is like a middle school right by Clemson that actually used to beat up on me and McCants when I was down there. But it's really cool. I know that probably the resources up here are lacking, especially at some schools. I know their shoulder pads are probably 100 years old. I can just kind of get some good safety, just good shoulder pads. I know they're hitting all the time, and it really just it kind of helps them out physically. I know they're probably all beat up from all the old pads and helmets they have, so it's just cool to give back.
I like that, Ben. We're doing a thing here. It's 8 days to the draft, so we go back in time. It's 8 days to draft. We go back 2009. The Steelers won the Super Bowl. The Hangover was a big movie. What was a young Ben Boulware doing in 2009? Paint the picture.
2009. So that was, you said 8 years ago.
Right.
So I would have been 14. I would have probably been getting my tail whipped by my dad. Me and my older brother caused a bunch of trouble in the house. It was me, my older brother, little brother, and a middle sister. And we tore our houses to pieces. So I was probably getting spanked every single day by my dad. Even at 14, my dad did not care at all. My dad used to whoop my tail. So I was probably just getting in trouble at the house, playing sports and come home and get in trouble and just kind of cause some ruckus with my older brother. So probably just getting my tail whipped by my dad every single day.
I feel you on that, man. I grew up in the house with 4 boys. I know all about the mischievous times. Now let's talk about this draft.
Yes.
Some folks are saying that you're a sleeper, and I'm not sure if I can describe you as that. Your resume doesn't say that. You're a national champion. So I want you to kind of speak on how people are seeing you, because when I came out, they said, he could be a sleeper. He could be a steal of the draft. And in my head, I'm thinking, how am I a steal when I'm better than a lot of these guys out there? How am I a sleeper when I've been waking you guys up all season? So how do you feel about having that title? Should you embrace it, or should you just try to wash it away?
No, trust me, you're preaching to the choir. I don't feel like I'm a sleeper or a steal in the draft. I feel like what I've proven over my career is what it is. I feel like the past, especially 2.5 years of my sophomore year of tape, speaks for itself. I feel like my tape is as good as anybody in the country. I've played the top level competition in the country. I've played against some of the best players in the country, and every one of those games, I feel like I've stood out. So I don't really feel like I'm a sleeper or a steal in the draft. I really don't put too much effort on that, too much focus on that. I really just kind of focus on me, focus on what I can control, and just work my butt off every day. Because I know at any point I just really need an opportunity. I don't really care where I can play ball again, and I'll do that, and I'll flourish. So I really don't put too much weight on sleeper or steal or any of that stuff. I'm just kind of controlling the things that I can control, maximize this opportunity I have. So I don't really look at the draft boards or what those draft gurus are saying, because they'll put stuff every year, and every year they're wrong. So I really don't worry about that. I kind of focus on me, focus on my craft, and focus on getting better every day.
All right, Ben Boulware off the NFL Network. Mm-hmm. Now, there will be mock drafts every day between now and next Thursday. They've been coming out practically every day, and every one of them changes to some degree. The latest mock draft that I saw today on CBSSports.com, in terms of the first round, now they had Deshaun Watson going 6 to the Jets. The one I saw yesterday, whoever did that one, had him going, 25th to the Texans? Mm-hmm. So it just shows you need, who needs a quarterback, and then how they feel about you. But by going with this mock draft, by going 6th to the Jets, he would be the first quarterback off the board, I believe.
Well, the interesting thing is, obviously, we don't know who Deshaun Watson is enticed by, because we could see, wait a minute, they're holding the card. Now has been traded because somebody moves up. Mm-hmm. So quite obviously a team, for instance, they had Deshaun Watson dropping in the 10 to 12 area to a team like Arizona. Well, Arizona may feel, okay, now we got a quarterback that's long in the tooth. We can develop and play 10, 12, 15 years. And their guy may be Deshaun Watson. They may be willing to trade up. Mm-hmm. So you never know during the draft what's happening. But if you're Deshaun Watson, you don't want to get picked by Cleveland. Sure, you're going to have a nice, fat, big, early contract, but you're going to get beat up. You'd rather go to a good team that's established with a good offensive line, a serviceable running game, and some receivers you can work with. That team right now to me is Arizona.
Looking at an NBA mock draft, too, on CBSSports.com, 16th pick, they have the Pacers taking Sindarius Thornwell. I bet he'd sign up for that right now. 16th pick, play for Nate McMillan, play under Larry Bird's watchful eye. That'd be kind of neat.
And probably their bell cow will be gone at free agency.
Well, somewhere. That's always the case. They have the Celtics taking that point guard out of Washington, Markelle Fultz.
Or
can he rebound?
No, or somebody who wants that point guard will trade away their rebounder to get him.
That's possible. It's possible. Thank you, Pro. Have a good evening. We have the man, the myth, the legend, the captain, SC Wild, coming up.
It's time. It's time to get wild with SC Wild. Everything hunting and fishing, natural resources, and your host, Phil Kornblut. SC Wild on Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network.
Welcome in another edition of SC Sports Talk. We welcome in the captain, Billy Downer. Good evening. Good to see you.
Always glad to be here.
Good to be back with you. I was down at Harbor Town over the weekend. What a beautiful – I made the ride. Coming back, we went from Hilton Head to Beaufort to have dinner on the waterfront in Beaufort. And what a gorgeous ride that is on that back road. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
The one that connects Beaufort and Hilton Head.
Sure.
That is some gorgeous South Carolina low country.
Where did you eat?
A place called Luther's.
Luther's, okay.
Yeah, I recommend it highly. And you will not be disappointed. I can promise you that.
Will not be disappointed.
You will not be disappointed. Yeah, yeah. We had a great time. Saw a lot of alligator activity around Harbor Town, around the tournament.
Of course
CBS,
you did. You opened the door for the alligator discussion. Here we go again.
Well, CBS TV had a shot of this huge gator. I mean, and it was down in one of the lake areas on the course with a big old throat and a huge mouth. I don't know how long he was, but he looked like a giant. And I was talking to the head of security at Harbor Town.
Right.
And he said that must have been, was that the name, one they have a nickname for? Al? They call him Al the Al?
I don't know.
It might have been Al. Anyway, he apparently is well known.
You know my rule about naming animals. It's always a bad thing.
Because
you
makes them too personal?
Yes, it's too personal.
But he said, no, what happens, of course, is they keep telling people don't feed the alligators.
Right.
Don't try and entice them with food, because once that happens, they got to go get the gator.
Because all they do is associate a human with food.
Right.
And if they don't get food, they have a small brain. Remember, I've told you this before, a walnut-sized brain. Telling them two things.
Quit talking about K-Mac like that.
Eat or reproduce. And I don't want them looking at me in either of those fashions. Not a lot of
Anybody else in this office remind you of something with a walnut-sized brain?
We won't go there.
Yeah.
Let's don't do that. How about this?
Okay.
I knew you were going to bring the alligators up.
Of course.
Because in the news, I think on the porch.
Wow.
Second story porch. Went up the stairs, went through the screen door to get on the porch.
Wow. How'd he do that?
He walked.
I mean, how'd he get through the screen door?
Just 9-pound gator. Just put, I mean, you and I can put, a dog can push through the screen door.
I mean,
make it too fantastic.
But you're talking about something with a walnut. You just said,
it's not like he walked up there with his hand and went, whop, and knocked it.
You just said he has the brain the size of a walnut.
Yes.
So how can he figure it out?
Move forward. That's all he had in his brain. Move forward. So he kept going forward to his, his head pushed through the screen. I mean, come on. Not that hard. But is it unusual? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you expect to see a gator on the back porch? Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
Was he coming to the door to eat people? No. Remember, this is the time of year, warm weather.
Mm-hmm.
I use this little term. Warm weather's brought our little scaly friends back out of the water and onto land.
Mm-hmm.
When it's warm, alligators get active. Big and small. Big boys always rule the roost. They push the little ones out. So this guy's getting pushed from wherever he's come from. He's got to go. So he's got to find somewhere else. He's trying to find somewhere else to get.
So you're saying if a 9-footer is up on your porch,
he most likely got pushed out by
yes. Man.
They get pushed out of the water by a bigger boy that says, this is my turf. Start moving a lot more this time of year, and as it get warm in the summer, they move them out. These bigger gators push them out, and then they go, so it's territorial. They move out.
So what do you do?
So he's just
if
moving.
You walk out on your porch.
He gets on the porch. Remember, he starts walking. He starts going, and he starts up. So he just keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
He gets to the porch. He really doesn't want to turn around. He just keeps going forward.
Okay, what do
you
you do?
Through the screen. Well, that's gator on the porch is absolutely one of these. You see an alligator. What do? On your porch.
Yeah.
Stop. Don't touch it. And we always say, kids, get an adult. In this case, stop, don't touch it, leave it alone. Call our 1-800-OGT line. That's the absolute time to call that number.
Mm-hmm.
At 1-800-922-5431. That is our 24/7 line for communicating to our wildlife department for emergencies.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, although it's not necessarily an emergency life and death in the moment, it is a gator that deserves to be called about.
Mm-hmm.
People call all the time, I see a gator by my dock. Well, that's not necessarily something to call about, but a gator on the porch, yes, call.
Wait a minute, gator on the dock. Don't
gator
fret it.
by the dock.
By the dock.
They're all on the dock. I mean, again, gators, problem gators that show up a lot are sitting by a swimming area, a big 10, 12-foot gator. They're sitting by your dock. They stay there, several days a week. That might be time to call and say, hey, I've got a gator that's been here at least a week. Mm-hmm. Have an officer come out and take a look at it and see what's going on. Mm-hmm. On the dock, on the porch, though, of course, that's a good time to call. I mean, you got it. Now, because we can get somebody to remove the gator.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, gator gets on the porch. He's in a tight space. He's not going to be happy. To remove him is going to take a little bit of work.
And it's going to cause a little bit of a mess out there too. Isn't it?
He starts rolling around, knocking chairs over. I mean, again, he's a big, powerful animal.
How many
lots of muscle in that tail. He'll break a chair in a heartbeat.
How many agents would come out from DNR? How many?
Well, we have actually people that are that work with DNR. We call alligator catchers.
Mm-hmm.
They are basically contracted out to take care of nuisance alligator problems. They are set up and equipped to grab gators, to dispatch them quickly, and to be able to clean the alligator and sell the hide and the meat.
Mm-hmm.
So they're set up to deal with gators and to process them.
So if a gator comes up on your porch,
yes,
and they take him away,
don't go up there with a broom, try to broom him off.
No. Once you get your help out there,
right.
They're going to take him and put him back in the wild, or they're going to.
Most time, a 9-foot gator like that, they're going to remove him permanently because it's that size gator can't be safely moved.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to come back.
Yeah.
In that kind of situation. Unfortunately, and again, this is the unfortunate thing that people don't understand about human wildlife interactions. Sometimes it doesn't end up good for wildlife, and that's just unfortunate. We have moved our houses all over the place. We've built houses and lakes and ponds. And
what do you expect you're going to
beautiful places where gators love to be. A wet pond, swamps.
Yeah.
We've dug up wetland areas or ponded up, but make beautiful ponds and golf courses in areas where alligators have always been. So don't be surprised when all of a sudden they're on the 18th green.
Yeah.
Next to that pond they've always been in.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate people don't understand that sometimes. But we do what we can to try to mitigate that. Move gators when you can, but you get a large gator, it's not safe to move them because they'll either hurt somebody or them in the process.
All right, what's that number again to call if you have a problem gator?
It's a 1-800-931. This is not just a report seeing one.
Mm-hmm.
This is a problem gator.
Problem gator.
That's correct.
All right. Steve Spurrier, he wouldn't fall under that gator.
He might for some teams,
okay,
but not in the South Carolina case as it were in this case.
Now, boating season.
Boating season is
here.
It's here. It's warm. It's 80 degrees. Everybody wants to put on the bathing suit and get on the boat.
Put on the Speedo.
Please don't. That was the image I could have done without. Come on. The radio audience didn't need that
Put
either.
on the old Speedo that I bought in Belgium, one of those European types. Those are particularly good Speedos.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Go ahead.
Recent warm weather. Boaters are out in force on the water, so we want to talk about some boating safety points tonight. We'll talk about those. Remember, South Carolina ranks 8th in the nation with over 485,000 registered boats. People don't realize that. You put that up next to California, New York State, Florida, other states that are much larger than South Carolina. It's really amazing that our state is 8th in the nation. 485,000 registered boats.
Why is that?
Water.
We have the ocean.
30% of South Carolina. You're right, from the mountains to the sea.
Yeah.
We have, of course, coastline. Beautiful coastline. But South Carolina is 30% water. We have a lot of water. So when we come back from the break, we'll talk about safety on the water and boating and what we need to do getting out in the water this year.
That sounds good. If you have a question for the captain, 800-956-7266. Email us, talkback@sportstalksc.com, or shoot us a tweet at SportsTalkSC. Clemson has taken as they play in the bottom of the fourth. At Doug Kingsmore, back in a moment. All right, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Back to the captain after he, you're like a mechanic that works on an
assemble the
engine.
mic and put it back together again.
Except there's one part,
one extra part
on the table here, not supposed to be there. Clemson up on Georgia 2-1, first and second, bottom of the fourth, and Jordan Adams, a little recruiting note here, Captain, if you don't mind, has now put out his top 5 in no order. Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, North Carolina, and LSU are his 5 in his top 5. To the phones we go for the captain, Billy Downer. We're now talking about alligators on the porch.
Of course.
And let's see what's on the mind of the caller as we go to Lenny in Hampton. Hello, Lenny. Welcome into SC Wild with the captain, Billy Downer.
Hey, how y'all doing tonight?
Good, sir.
Good, Lenny. What you got?
I got a quick question for you. I need to know the fastest way to get I should have done this last season, but I purchased a boat out of Georgia, and I got the Georgia slide rules, DNR fish regulation.
Sure.
Stickers,
sure.
I need the South Carolina one.
Best and fastest way. Where do you live? Again?
Hampton.
Fastest way is probably going to be call the Columbia office. I would tell you to call this number. You got something you can write down?
Yeah.
But you can write 734, and I'm going to say it out loud, 734-3886, and you call that number and tell them you're looking for the fish rulers, and they can mail one to you most likely from that number. But that's the number for Freshwater Fisheries and Wildlife Division, and they can get that to you. But that's 734-6. That's 803-3886. And the lady who answers that phone is very nice, and she will be able to get you a ruler, tell her freshwater or saltwater. I don't know if we got any saltwater right now. It's one of those things that just goes quickly, but the freshwater ruler for sure, I know we can get you. Feel pretty positive.
All right. Well, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Yeah. 800-956-7266. And the what, Jarmart? The what?
It was not ready to go on air and debut as on, a sports broadcaster. You need a fishing license to fish in the beach of South Carolina.
You have the saltwater license. You have a saltwater license, and that is a good one. I'm pretty sure I'm going to make sure that I'm right before I tell you, because I am not a saltwater guy every day.
So, you see
saltwater license, you do need to have, when you even surf fish, you got to have a saltwater license unless you are fishing on a pier. So saltwater license is required anywhere there's saltwater. Saltwater dividing line 17 north or 17, Highway 17 is generally the saltwater dividing line. But if you're in saltwater, you need to have a saltwater saltwater license in addition to a freshwater. So if you bought a $25 combination hunting and fishing license for $25, you can hunt and fish and hunt big game and fish in South Carolina with that license. But if you go to the coast, you've got to buy a $10 saltwater license for saltwater. Now, unless you're on a pier, which is a pier permit like Garden City.
Well, let me ask you this. I see people all the time when I'm on the beach, and they're just walking out.
Yep.
And they got their little white bucket over there.
That's right.
And they take their pole, and they have a little pole stand, I guess. They stick it in the beach.
Sure.
And do you have to have a license for that kind of fishing? Is that what you're talking about? Just walking in off the strand?
License. Yes, saltwater license. That's correct. If you're fishing in saltwater, correct. Now I'm gonna make sure on the surf fishing. I'm pretty sure that's included in that. I know if you're the only time not is if you're on the dock, if you're on a pier, and on the pier, again, if it's a pier, you have to have a pier permit for that, but you don't have to have a saltwater license for that. The pier permit or daily permits they sell at the piers are available there.
All right. Let's continue on the boating front, since we are hot in here in South Carolina. And in South Carolina, I know you want to get the word out about some of the key points that you need to know before you put that boat on the water.
One of the things, if you are going to boat in South Carolina, You need to understand the boating rules. Boater education, when is it required? People ask that all the time. Every state's a little different. Our state is an age, basically, if you're under the age of 16 and you want to operate a boat of 15 horsepower or greater by yourself, unaccompanied by someone 18 years of age or older, you have to have passed an approved boater education course. There's a couple ways to do that. How can you take boater education? You can take one of our classroom courses, which are free. They're offered generally during the spring and summer. So this time of year, May, June, July, into August. So our coastal areas, they offer classes a little bit more throughout the year because they have more boating going on, obviously, on the coast. But these classes are free. To find out where our classes are, you can go to our website, to dnr.sc.gov, look for education, and then click on boating education and find a course near you. Other than that, you can take an internet-based course for a fee. All the internet-based courses usually cost something. The South Carolina boating course is put on the internet by a third-party vendor. That course is up there at around $27 to take that course. That's about the price of all of them. It is available. But what it does allow you to do is it allows a student to take the course at their leisure, at their own pace. They can save where they are, go back to it. One of the things I suggest with parents who do that with children is to take that course with them. There is no limit or age minimum on that course. So parents really need to be paying attention to make sure their young people understand what they're learning.
Let me ask you for 3 good basic rules of navigation when you're on the water in your boat.
Get asked this all the time. The 3 basic rules of navigation are this. Number 1, practice good seamanship. It's the responsibility of every boat or PWC, that would be a personal watercraft or jet ski for the layman, operator, to take all necessary action to avoid a collision. In other words, you don't go out there and try to cut people off. You watch, you be a defensive driver. You watch around you, look out for others. Keep a sharp lookout. Number 2, keep a sharp lookout. Failing to keep a sharp lookout is probably the most common cause of boating accidents we have in the state. For a boat, you should be looking all the time. Watch if you're pulling somebody, particularly if you're pulling kids on or on tubes. Everybody wants to, if I'm pulling a skier, I'm always thinking, that's true, but what about the tube and the kids? Because everybody does that today. So easy, so fun. It's a fun activity. But when you're slinging those kids around, you need to be looking about what other boats are doing around you. Make sure young people, when they're being pulled or somebody's being skied, that they have a life jacket on them at all times. Has to be a type 1, type 2, or type 3 life jacket that they have on, not inflatable. Has to be one that's full-time. Typically the type 3, which is your recreational life jacket, but you have that on at all times. So if they fall off, because they're going to fall off. To put their hand up as soon as they hit the water. Boats. Third thing, maintain a safe speed and distance. Again, look out for other boats. Maintain a safe speed. Know when you should be going slower, particularly on no-wake zones. But practice good seamanship. Keep a sharp lookout. Maintain a safe speed and distance.
3 good rules to remember as you hit the water this spring and summer. Captain, we have certainly enjoyed it.
Close with this.
See you again.
Always make sure you've got a life jacket for everybody on board your boat.
Absolutely.
It fits everybody and they're good condition.
And don't drink and boat drive.
Do not drink and boat drive. Absolutely.
Just like you're in a car, or have a designated driver.
That's
you can
right.
do that as well. We thank you, as always.
Enjoyed it.
Always great seeing you. Captain Billy Downer from South Carolina DNR. That's this edition of SC Wild on Sports Talk. Hope you learned something. I always do every time the captain is in here. One thing I'm learning is he doesn't know how to fix a microphone holder, whatever you want to call it. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Tell me when you're ready. All right, here we go. In 3.